News of the Xingyang family's demise spreads in the Dust Flame Empire, leaving the martial artists guessing what the future awaits them. On the other hand, Yunxia makes preparations for the revolution he is about to bring in Tianwu. To that end, he heads to the Dust Flame Empire's Alchemist Association, recruiting a 7-star martial grandmaster to his cause. After the two head to Verdant Seaport, they find themselves joining a hunting party for a 6th-tier beast. Getting absolutely demolished by his vicious stepbrother, Duan Yue wonders if he can even show up in Verdant Seaport after this, seeing the old man cry bloody tears. Yunxia shows no remorse. After all, he did to this himself by trying to beat him in intelligence. After everyone processes this latest piece of information, Ma 1D playfully comforts Duan Yue. Since brotherly love overcomes all odds, he is convinced that their mission will be a success, the old fart's poor mother never beating the allegations. Elder Hunya quickly changes the topic, wanting to move on to making their battle plans. He asks Duan Yue what danger he faced during his last expedition, who is still trying to come to terms with Yunxiao's previous onslaught, all for the Rainbow Fog. The old man answers Hunyao's query by making up a believable story about an underwater vortex, finally getting everyone him of his case. Ma 1D then announces that they will be using the 7-star striking array against the violet 9-striped moth, confirming Duan Yue's earlier theory. As the hunt will take about a day and only requires good cooperation to succeed, he wants to practice in the meantime, and invites everyone elsewhere. Being completely familiar with the array, Yunxia decides not to join them by feigning respect for their status as martial grandmasters. After they leave, he gets up from his chair. Ever since becoming a 1-star great martial master, the reincarnated hasn't gotten any spare time to train. So, he shatters some high-tier Shuan stones to finally do it now. Creating a creation link, Yunxia begins absorbing the Shuan dust, being able to train his true Qi, alongside normal Qi, without any drawbacks after acquiring a body like glass. A day passes, and the battleship finally reaches its destination. However, nothing shows up, making Hunya doubt Ma 1D's map and question if the violet 9-striped moth has already changed locations. C2 Xing reveals that it just isn't possible, as sea beasts live in their own territories. So, the violet striped moth won't leave the area unless it's dead or an even stronger creature forces it to go away. Ma 1D verifies this statement and then calls for his martial brothers from the Soaring Sword sect. After collectively greeting their elder Ma, the 6 members start flying around on their blades and disperse in all directions. Dudes cosplaying flies. They then pour a green concoction into the sea, causing it to swirl around wildly and bubble up. Yunxia recognizes the liquid as the snake-scent grass solution, impressing Ma 1D. The uncommon herb acts as bait for scaly beasts because of its smell, being the best item in luring them out. However, due to the violet 9-striped moth's living conditions and the volume of the seawater, Yunxia thinks that the snake-scent grass solution will not work this time around. The boy wonders if Ma 1D has a backup plan, making him raise an eyebrow. If you smell what the rock is cooking. Of course, since Yunxia is right, the elder praises Duan Yue for his brother being a genius, inflicting a fatal blow on him. Wishing that everyone stop calling Yunxia his brother, the old man understands that Ma 1D would go insane if he actually knew what the boy is capable of, and just nods in agreement. The gravity of the situation soon brings him to his knees, though. All the while, Yunxia smirks at his misery. Right then, the Soaring Sword sect's members erupt with aura, forming a massive array around the area. Everyone on the battleship gets alerted by this mighty showcase, realizing that the sect truly deserves its status. Grinning at the reactions, Ma 1D asks Yunxia if he knows of this array. The latter doesn't for once, and wants the former to teach him about it. Overcome with excitement, the elder explains that it's the Cloud Drop Array, handed down within his sect from ancient times, allowing them to search for any living creature within 500 miles, including the violet 9-striped moth. Hearing this, Yunxia starts acting like a fanboy for the Soaring Sword sect and its strength. However, he couldn't be more disappointed in his mind. After all, the Cloud Drop Array is just one of the 12 beginner-level arrays out of the Royal Throne's book, 800 arrays and formations, only being fit for fooling mere plebs. Suddenly, thunderbolts erupt from the sky above the swirling seawater. "It's here," mutters Yunxia as their entire surroundings change. Soon, the clouds start spreading, and the mist disperses, marking the arrival of the violet nine-striped moth. As the seawater shoots toward the heavens, Ma 1D shouts at everyone to attack. With this, the martial grandmasters jump into battle. Before leaving, Duan Yue instructs the soaring Sky Sect members and Yunxia to hide in the battleship somewhere away from there, deeming it an unwatchable battle for them. The martial grandmasters head toward the Eye of the Vortex, unfazed by the phenomenon. Right then, a wild and eerie roar echoes throughout the area as the violet nine-striped moth finally shows itself in all its glory. The monster instantly rushes to attack Ma 1D, prompting him to take a quick battle stance. He unleashes his soaring sword sect, Scorching Sun Strike, to fend off the beast, albeit to no avail. Unfazed by the human's onslaught, the violet nine-striped moth continues to charge forward and almost devours him. Fortunately, Elder Hunya starts the 7-star strike just in time, creating a protective barrier around Ma 1D to save his life. Following him, all the other martial artists do the same. Not wanting to waste any more time, Ma 1D joins them, completing the 7 components of the array. The violet nine-striped moth screams out in rage, but Elder Hunya quickly combines the 7 strikes to entrap it. Unable to escape the seal, the beast starts going wild, causing the seawater to splash around wildly. Ma 1D shouts out at everyone to be careful, understanding that the monster is going to unleash its innate ability, Seabed Draconic Thunder. Moments later, the splashing water turns into creatures resembling the violet nine-striped moth. Naruto got a file for copyright at this point. These water beasts crash into the 7 striking array, unable to affect it in the slightest. Seeing the monster struggle, Elder Hunya laughs at its brutish methods. He is unimpressed by the beast's 6 directions realm strength, as even a 7 constellations realm martial emperor would find it troublesome to break through the 7-star striking array. Top 10 moments before disaster. However, Yunxia understands that the creature already awakening its innate ability is bad news, as the violet 9 strike could reach the 7th tier if it doesn't die this time. The boy wonders if the martial grandmasters would be able to block it. Right then, the monster unleashes his Seabed Draconic Thunder technique once again, making Elder Hunya burst out laughing yet again. Pitying the stupid creature that is still struggling, despite the outcome being decided already, he mocks it for wasting its energy meaninglessly. However, Yunxia quickly realizes that something is off. Instead of going for the entrapment, the water beasts attack the martial grandmasters, just like the reincarnated soul expected. Possessing part of the dragon's bloodline, the smart violet nine-striped moth used its first attack as a test to understand how it could break the array, and then use the results to actually do it. With this, the beast manages to break free. The monster got more brains than Duan Yue. Roaring out, the violet nine-striped moth celebrates its freedom. Suddenly, it spots a human silhouette nearby. Eager to exact its vengeance, the monster rushes to devour the human, only to end up biting nothing but air. Appearing behind it, Duan Yue mocks the creature for being a dumb brute who gets tricked by a simple illusion. Now I know that ain't who I think it is talking about being a dumb brute. The old man then brings out his Shuan weapon, unleashing the white flame ghostly strike. 6 Evil's halberd to take out the beast. However, it quickly responds by concentrating a huge ball of energy in its mouth. With this, not only does the violet nine-striped moth block Duan Yue's attacks, but it also wounds him in the process. Understanding that the monster is way too strong to take down, the old man furiously questions where the other 6 martial grandmasters have gone, assuming them to be dead. Unable to escape in such a situation, Duan Yue realizes that he's going to die, and vows to take down the beast with him. Right then, Yunxia shouts out at him. The reincarnated soul orders the geezer to return to the battleship instantly, reprimanding him for lashing out at the 6 martial grandmasters. After all, they were smart for hiding themselves and escaping the moment the array broke. On the other hand, Duan Yue waited for a chance to ambush the violet nine-striped moth like an absolute idiot. Hearing Yunxia's stern words, the old man is hit with the unfortunate realization of being the real clown. Finding out that everyone ran away when the array failed, Duan Yue rages, vowing to crush the cowardly turtleheads to pieces when he finds them. Yunxia tells him to stop complaining like a little girl, since his own stupidity is at fault. Hearing this, the 7-star martial grandmaster pauses and puts on a heroic front, as there is no way for the Tiger King battleship to outspeed the violet nine-striped moth. Duan Yue prepares to sacrifice himself to buy time for Yunxia to escape. Unmoved, the reincarnated soul readily accepts his offer and leaves him behind. Realizing that playing cool in front of Yunxia won't work well in his favor, the old man practically begs him to bring him along. With all the shenanigans out of the way, Duan Yue seriously questions how the boy plans on dealing with the violet nine-striped moth, which is about to catch up to them soon. Of course, in classic Yunxia fashion, the plan is to make someone else take the hit. After all, it just so happens that Ma Wandi's men have another 5th-tier battleship in the vicinity. Already mad at the elder for running away, Duan Yue readily jumps on the opportunity to exact his twisted vengeance. What a sadistic-ass old freak. Grabbing Yunxia by the shoulder, the old man leaps onto the soaring sword-sex Tiger King battleship. Seeing them there, Ma Wandi's men anxiously inquire about the situation. However, Duan Yue only gives them a furious glare, making them flinch. At the same time, Yunxia turns toward the violet nine-striped moth and screams out, "Explode!" With this shout, a floating battleship near the beast erupts, resulting in a wild explosion that sends shockwaves everywhere. Forced to cover their eyes against the impact, the soaring sword sect members question what's going on. Before they can get any answers though, Duan Yue and Yunxia vanish, leaving the martial artists scratching their heads. Of course, things are only about to get worse for Ma Wandi's men. Enraged by the earlier blast, the violet nine-striped moth appears before them and begins chopping away. Enjoying the view from the comfort of his Tiger King battleship, Duan Yue remarks that the soaring sect members deserve this gruesome fate for abandoning him. In fact, he even thinks that Yunxia should blow up their battleship to damage the beast further. Since the reincarnated soul isn't a Ninth-tier refiner, at least not in this life, he can't perform such a feat with his current spirit power. After all, he had to prepare an encryption and a universal mark for the previous explosion to work as well. Despite that, a large store of his spirit power was depleted. Regardless, Duan Yue is thoroughly impressed. For a 1-star great martial master to stay calm in such a situation and save the life of a martial grandmaster such as himself, the old man respects the boy and vows to remember this debt. My goat is the Thanos of collecting professional glazers. Heck, he even got us glazing him. However, Yunxia feels that it is too early to start celebrating and advises Duan Yue to heal himself. He hands the old man some pills, wanting him to take them in order to fight later. This leaves the 7-star martial grandmaster confused, as the distance they currently have with the violet nine-striped moth should make it easy for them to escape. Little does Duan Yue know, Yunxia has no intention of running away. Hearing these words, the old man shouts out, questioning if the boy really intends to try killing the monster alone. Duan Yue protests, labeling Yunxia insane for even thinking of such a thing. He wants no part in this madness, refusing to help the reincarnated soul in this suicide mission. Right then, Yunxia declares that no one said he was going by himself. Not having enough IQ to keep up, the old man is left shaking his head in confusion. With a sinister grin across his face, the boy reveals that Ma Wandi is still hiding in silence. As the ruthless elder refuses to show himself, even when his people are being slaughtered, Yunxia wants to see just how long he can keep hiding. Turns out, the other 6 martial grandmasters aren't dumbasses like the old man and haven't left the scene yet, instead opting to hide themselves above the sea with secret techniques. All of them are waiting on someone else to make a move first, wanting to reap the rewards at the best opportune moment possible. Only an idiot like Duan Yue decided to come out and make the first move. Infuriated by this revelation, the old man swears to make everyone pay when he gets his strength back. Of course, Yunxia tells him to stop complaining, since it's his own fault for being stupid in the first place, and focus on recovering. Observing the boy, Duan Yue concludes that his calm demeanor is the real thing, something that can't be faked, and is only obtained through a lifetime's worth of encounters with death. Blood is unaware. Just then, Yunxia starts an incantation. With the winds and clouds in hand, the world becomes his, bringing the 5-line tripod to him. As Yunxia has always surprised him, Duan Yue finally starts believing in the impossible. Maybe, just maybe, the boy actually has a way to defeat the beast. However, the old man's ramblings soon stop as the violet nine-striped moth rushes toward them at an immense speed. Duan Yue panically warns Yunxia of its arrival, but he remains unfazed. With the true fire of life flaring up on his forehead, the reincarnated soul imbues them into the 5-line tripod. Enveloping the nooks and crannies of the 5-star Yuan artifact, the blue flames of the true soul phoenix take form, turning into the projection of the ancient mythical creature. Witnessing this sight, the violet 9-stripe starts quivering in fear. After all, it's only natural for a water-based true spirit to fear fire, said fire being a projection imbued with the breath of a true soul phoenix is just overkill. Having used the tear suppression between the beast's strengths to his advantage, Yunxia grins proudly. Just like that, the true fire of life surrounds the violet 9-striped moth, pulling its entire being into the 5-line tripod. With this, Yunxia completes the hunt all alone and declares that they are done, at least for now. Of course, this entire scene leaves Duan Yue questioning reality itself, making all sorts of thoughts flow into his already feeble mind. Even when he was ready to give up his own life to kill the 6th-tier sea beast, Duan Yue couldn't do it. So, for the monster to get captured so easily and without any bloodshed is something he truly can't comprehend. However, now is not the time for these thoughts, as the rest of the martial grandmasters show up to collect the loot, nonchalantly congratulating the two mighty brothers for capturing the violet 9-striped moth alive. Ma 1D tries to feign ignorance about where they have been, only keeping his eyes on the price. However, Duan Yue isn't the least bit interested in receiving or accepting his praise. Taking a stern stance, he tells the wretched martial grandmasters to return wherever they came from. Hearing this, Elder Hunya steps up, guilt-tripping Duan Yue for forgetting about them after getting his hands on the prize. In the blink of an eye, the 6 martial grandmasters surround the old man and Yunxia, refusing to let them run off with the beast. Xing chimes in, insisting that the only reason Duan Yue is even alive at the moment is because of them using the 7-star striking array to weaken the violet 9-striped moth. His partner, Tong Chiao, tells the old man to listen and just split the loot into 7 equal shares as previously agreed. In fact, he can even go ahead and take the first pick for himself. Instead of Duan Yue, Ma 1D has a problem this time. Dudes aren't even on the same page, they grip lil bras. After all, the original plan was for the treasure to be split into each shares, with 2 of them belonging to the Soaring Sword sect. Tong Chiao reminds him that the basis for that arrangement was for the Soaring Sword sect's contributions to be the largest, something that they miserably failed to accomplish. So, there's no reason for the extra share to be given to them. Yan Fei Yue backs Tong Chiao's suggestion, practically telling Ma 1D to pipe down. The 80-year-old perverted lady gives him a wink for his service, creeping out the poor young dude. Hunya also declares that dividing the treasure into 7 shares is fair, forcing Ma 1D to back off. Right then, Yunxia speaks up. As they are keeping things fair, the boy wonders if he can also get a share. After all, he is the one who trapped the violet 9-striped moth in the 5-line tripod. Shi Hongkai tells him off, announcing that entrapping the violet 9-striped moth wasn't his personal contribution in the first place, since they weakened it with the 7-star striking array. The scholarly martial grandmaster starts giving Yunxia a lecture about the virtue of humbleness, and Tong Chiao jumps in with him. Instead of a share of the treasure, the lady kindly offers Yunxia to take a 3rd-tier Shuan weapon out of her arsenal as a reward. Hearing these words, the reincarnated soul demonstrates his masterclass acting and pretends to accept that he is a good-for-nothing, who was just harmfully having absurd fantasies. Elder Hunya praises the boy's maturity, also complimenting Duan Yue for having such a talented younger brother at the same time. Bro might as well accept his fate at this point. Suddenly, Yunxia reminds everyone that the agreed-upon distribution was for a dead violet 9-striped moth. However, as he has captured the beast alive in his 5-line tripod, the reincarnated soul wonders if the martial grandmasters intend to cut it up. Hearing this, the realization hits all of them at once. Before, they never even considered the possibility of capturing a live violet 9-striped moth, as the beast's value is many times more alive than it is if it were dead. Cutting it up for distribution would be the equivalent of ruining a priceless treasure, something that no martial artist would ever dare to do. Understanding that he would be the first target if negotiations were to break down, Hunya bursts out laughing. He tries to defuse the situation, reiterating the vow of trust they took before setting out to sea. Hunya takes the moral high ground, prompting Ma 1D to remind him that they also agreed on an 8 shared distribution at the same time. Realizing that he has been had, the cunning geezer puts the blame on the other martial grandmasters and offers to trade his share for a satisfactory price. Shi Hongkai doubts that anyone there is rich enough to have something similar in value to the violet 9-striped moth, but Elder Hunya is convinced that someone would be willing to put a price on the beast. A momentary silence befalls the Tiger King battleship, getting broken by Yan Fei Yue. He brings out an ancient 6th-tier soul talisman, made by the Rune sect, revealing it to be a defensive talisman of immeasurable value that can even block a full-force attack from a 1-star martial emperor. Yan Fei Yue puts it up for trade, with a share of the violet 9-striped moth, instantly catching everyone's attention. On today's episode of Deal or No Deal, made by the Rune sect's secret technique, the talisman is a consumable item that houses its producer's cultivation. As such, it has an extremely low success rate in refinement. Even Yunxia, who was a 9th-tier refiner in his past life, is unaware of how the ancient talismans are refined. The Rune sect is already mysterious and private enough in Tianwu, so these talismans are very rare and secretive, even by their standards. In fact, only experts who are at the end of their ropes refine such talismans in exchange for their lives and pass them on to their descendants for protection. However, Si Tuixing and Tang Chiao express no interest in the item, since it has no use for them. While Yan Fei Yue rages, Hunya questions if any of them is in possession of an underworld stone, vowing to trade his share of the treasure in exchange for it. Hearing this, Yunxia falls deep into thought. Si Tuixing and Tang Chiao are left wondering what the geezer is talking about, while the boy notes that the underworld stone is a Shuan artifact similar to the heavenly obsidian jade, albeit being of a way lower tier. Yunxia laments that the small piece he stole from the Supreme High Palace exploded in the process of destroying the Xingzang family. Yet again, silence descends on the Tiger King battleship, wondering how long they are going to just keep standing around. Ma 1D breaks the silence this time, suggesting that good old primordial stones be used to settle a matter. Ignoring his words, Yunxia turns his attention toward the 5-line tripod, which is going wild due to the violet 9-striped moth adapting to the phoenix's flames. Realizing that the beast won't stay trapped for much longer, Yunxia tells Yan Fei Yue that he can have Duan Yue's share for 100,000 high-tier primordial stones, on top of the ancient soul talisman. Confused at the boy speaking for him, Yan Fei Yue asks the old man if he really wants to do this trade. Side-eyeing the boy and getting a signal, Duan Yue starts walking off, declaring that Yunxiao's word is his own. With this, Yan Fei Yue hands over the items to the reincarnated soul. Staring at the ancient talisman, Yunxia feels glad. After all, he couldn't find anything about the Rune sect's items, no matter how many of them were gifted to him in his past life. Once again giving an Oscar-worthy performance, Yunxia hands over the 5-line tripod, containing the violet 9-striped moth Yan Fei Yue, and starts crying over the loss of his beloved 5th-tier Yuan artifact. The former's masterful acting works, as the latter hands him the 5th-tier Dragon and Phoenix dual rings that he used while being a martial king as compensation for the 5-line tripod. Nah, Blue got finessed. Grinning from ear to ear, Yunxia brings out another Tiger King battleship and starts heading off, not wanting to interfere with however the martial grandmasters choose to distribute the treasure. Leaving the previous Tiger King battleship as a gift for them, the boy moves out. Afterward, Duan Yue asks Yunxia how he has so many 5th-tier battleships, considering that they are meant to be extremely hard to get. The reincarnated soul tells the broke brat to stop trying to understand his life and just focus on healing his injuries, as he might have to fight later. Duan Yue feels extremely confused by this statement at first, though he soon remembers that going to the Rainbow Fog was their original mission to begin with. Although they will be going to the Rainbow Fog later, that isn't what Yunxia is talking about. After all, they still need the violet 9-striped moth. Since the martial grandmasters rested for so long at their expense before, Yunxia wants to return the favor and hides the Tiger King battleship above the clouds with some encryptions. Not keeping up with whatever the boy is on about, Duan Yue wonders if the martial grandmasters will start fighting over the distribution. However, Yunxia is talking about something else yet again, declaring that it should be about time. Sick and tired of feeling dumb, the geezer begs the boy to speak clearly for once, and just tell them why he was in such a hurry to trade before. Of course, Yunxia doesn't need to explain anything, as the echoing roar of the violet nine-striped moth, coming from the martial grandmaster's direction, soon makes everything clear to Duan Yue. The old man questions if Yunxia did all this on purpose, receiving only a grin in response, impressed by the boy's ruthlessness. Duan Yue starts laughing, celebrating the impending demise of the six who abandoned him before. Laying down to rest up after all his hard work, Yunxia feels annoyed by the 7-star martial grandmaster's earlier remark. After all, expecting a 1-star great martial master to deal with a 6th-tier beast that easily is just pure idiocy. The reincarnated soul only sealed it temporarily, which forced unreasonable time constraints on him. Otherwise, he would have gotten more than an ancient soul talisman without losing his 5-line tripod. Duan Yue reminds the boy that Yan Fei Yue already compensated him for the rusty old tripod, with the dragon and phoenix dual rings recognizing them as a strong weapon. However, Yunxia tells the old man to stop talking about things he doesn't know. Not only does the 5-line tripod contain a full understanding of the 5 elements realm, making it the most valuable 5th-tier item in the entirety of Tianwu, but the reincarnated soul has also studied it thoroughly, becoming one with the tripod, so losing it greatly reduces his strength. Hearing details about the 5-line tripod, Duan Yue remembers it as the one tripod refined by Go Fei Yang that was auctioned off during the 1,000 Treasures auction recently. Turns out, the old man was looking for a refiner of the Dust Flame Empire branch at the time and happened to look at the brochures. However, he never could have thought that Yunxia was the one who bought it. Sure, let's go with bought. Moreover, completely grasping the 5-line tripod in such little time is beyond Duan Yue, as not even a 7-star martial grandmaster like him would have been able to do such a thing. Looking on at the 6 martial grandmasters struggling against the violet 9-striped moth, Yunxia simply shrugs off Duan Yue's comment by announcing it as the difference between their capabilities. Telling the old man to just relax and focus on healing up, the boy turns his attention to the good show taking place at the moment. Of course, this is the 6 martial grandmasters struggling to even make a dent in the violet 9-striped moth. Realizing that Yunxia tricked him, Yan Fei Yue vows to rip him to shreds if he ever sees him again. Meanwhile, Ma Wandi is shocked by Duan Yue's cruelty, lamenting ever letting him in on the hunt. Hunya wonders how he is even surprised, having always considered the old man to be a greedy weasel. Hearing them complain, Tang Chiao questions what good it is going to do for them now, wanting to just team up and kill the beast as quickly as possible. In order to ensure that no one else betrays the group, Shi Hongkai declares that everyone will jump whoever tries to run away. Yan Fei Yue likes the idea and prepares to go all out, and the others follow suit. Elder Hunya unleashes his bloody crocodile twin snip, forming a sinister scissor-like entity to deal with the beast. Shi Hongkai is up next, and he activates his spring-fall skyward scroll. Just like that, Yan Fei Yue leaps in with his agile tiger flame slash. The couple, Si Tuxing and Tang Chiao, unite to unleash their dual-blade full strike technique. Lastly, Ma 1D gathers his energy to let loose his soaring sword melding combustion. All the techniques rain down on the violet 9-striped moth, causing it to scream out in agony. Looking on, Yunxia snarks at the ragtag bunch. After all, if the 6 martial grandmasters had decided to cooperate like this, when the array broke, they wouldn't have ended up in such a terrible situation in the first place. Duan Yue notes that all of them just wanted to take the loot for themselves, but are forced to share it now. However, Yunxia thinks that they won't even get to do that. Since the martial grandmasters will exhaust themselves in killing the violet 9-striped moth, he plans for the brothers to collect the profits. Effing diabolical mate. At the same time, most of Duan Yue's injuries are completely healed, making him wonder what pill Yunxia gave him. Suddenly, the reincarnated soul gets alerted by something and gets up. Even though his universal detect isn't picking up anything, he has a gut feeling that a bad time awaits them. Announcing that there's been a change of plans, Yunxia instructs Duan Yue to prepare to flee at a moment's notice. The boy is deeply troubled by his universal detect failing him, as this might mean that a stronger sea beast is lurking around in the area. Of course, everything looks like it's all rainbow and sunshine to a dumbass like Duan Yue, even though a massive claw is popping out of the clouds behind him, utterly eclipsing the violet 9-striped moth in size. The gigantic purple hand clutches the beast with such force that it starts coughing out blood. Along with the 6th-tier monster, the claws soon pulls back into the portal it popped out from. Moments later, a 6th-tier Green Phoenix battleship appears out of the portal, with the violet 9-striped moth entrapped in a purple orb that floats atop his hand. An ominous man celebrates that his master Shu's troubles have been relieved. After all, he found such a good gift for his sect master's 500th birthday next month, as the pill made from the 6th-tier beast would be perfect nourishment for the old man. Dude's really fighting over steroids for martial artists. Reading this mysterious lord, Ma 1D tries to say something about the violet 9-striped moth. However, he instantly gets shut down, stuttering over his words. Hunya greets the ominous man, recognizing him as a Peak 6 Directions Realm Martial Grandmaster of the Star Mansion sect. To Hunya's knowledge, out of the elites of Star Mansion sect that are currently on guard in Verdant Seaport, there should be only 2 9-star martial grandmasters other than Shu Feng, making him wonder if the man's one of them. Commending the elder for his insight, the imposing figure confirms his hypothesis and introduces himself as Hung Yuan, with a harsh chi oozing out of his right eye. The entity once again tells Hunya to get lost if he knows him, threatening him with death if he doesn't. Grinding his teeth, Hunya is about to say something concerning his relationship with Master Shu Feng, but gets shot down without hesitation. Hung Yuan doesn't care about whatever connections anyone has, as the only choice for them is to either scram or die. Hey, this dude is kinda based. Just like that, Hunya's body falls into the water below, where a ravaging sea beast eats it for lunch. This scene strikes fear into the hearts and minds of the remaining 5 martial grandmasters, causing them to fly off in separate directions. However, Ma 1D runs into a solid wall, or rather, a portal. Li Yuan Yu, in aid of the Star Mansion sect master, appears out of it. As per orders, he is there to take the martial grandmasters' lives. 3 more portals follow suit, bringing with them 1 martial grandmaster each for every member of the hunting party. While Yunxia and Duan Yue are left in shock, Ma 1D protests, questioning why they have to die, even after handing over the violet 9-striped moth. Well, turns out that the answer's pretty simple. Since all of them are martial grandmasters with big names in Verdant Seaport, Shu Feng just doesn't want any trouble later. Holy Giga Chad. Right then, Yunxia is overcome with an uneasy feeling. Leaving Li Yuan Yu in charge of finishing off the martial grandmasters, the maniacal Hung Yuan turns his attention toward the 2 ants outside their web and rushes to finish them off. With this, an unstoppable foe approaches Yunxia and Duan Yue. In the face of impending doom, the reincarnated soul simply smiles, passing a sly remark about how they are truly done for this time. Duan Yue finds it difficult to understand this behavior, as the boy should definitely be well aware of their dire situation. Despite this, he looks neither scared nor panicked. Remaining calm even when confronted by death, this feat leaves Duan Yue questioning just how much composure Yunxia truly possesses. The old man also feels curious about the kind of cultivation path the boy has taken, as even a 7-star martial grandmaster like himself is panicking at the thought of Hung Yuan catching up to them at any moment. Right then, Yunxia asks Duan Yue if he feels confident in injuring the Star Mansion sect martial grandmaster with an all-out attack. Despite not being able to kill Hung Yuan with his full might and momentum, the old man at least feels confident about injuring him heavily. However, landing the attack is another story entirely. Thankfully, Yunxia only requires him to be strong enough. When Hung Yuan is 10 meters away from the battleship, the reincarnated soul will restrict his movements for a bit, allowing Duan Yue to strike. So, the geezer should start gathering his momentum when the enemy is 100 meters away. The thought of a 1-star Great Martial Master being able to restrict a Peak Martial Grandmaster utterly baffles Duan Yue, leaving him filled with doubt, this dumbass really doubting plot armor still. However, as Hung Yuan approaches the Tiger King battleship, the geezer has no choice but to believe in Yunxia yet again. Duan Yue brings out his white flame ghostly killer, unsealing it to unleash wild flames that start running rampant. Looking at this sight, Hung Yuan realizes that not even he can tank an all-out attack from a 7-star martial grandmaster. Still, the former is convinced that the latter will never be able to land a blow on him. Praising Duan Yue's exceptional abilities, Hung Yuan offers to spare his life if he enters the Star Mansion sect. Having the same misconception about Yunxia being Duan Yue's illegitimate child, the Peak Six Directions Realm Martial Grandmaster starts blackmailing the old man with his son's life. In response, the reincarnated soul tells Hung Yuan to send his greetings to his entire family instead and activates the Universal Spirit Suppressor Exile technique. As soon as the attacker gets within 10 meters of Yunxia, Crimson Madness takes control of him. Getting surrounded by countless moon eyes, Hung Yuan freezes in place. Seeing a mere kid affect him with such mental techniques, the martial grandmaster is left questioning his identity. However, he has better things to worry about at the moment, as countless chain-like structures emerge from the moon eyes to restrict Hung Yuan. Enraged by the petty tricks, the 9-star martial grandmaster feels infuriated that mere illusions are hurting him. Calling for the endless world, the shining stars, and the ghosts that hold him, Hung Yuan prepares to rip the illusory space apart. He succeeds in doing so too, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter. Taking advantage of the momentary restriction, Duan Yue appears behind the Peak Six Directions Realm Martial Grandmaster, striking him down with the White Flame Ghostly Killer, Six Evils Halberd. Named harder than us, wait what? A clean slash passes right through Hung Yuan's torso, enveloping him in a ghastly flame. Barely managing to string words together, the Star Mansion Sect Guardian vows to rip Duan Yue into 1,000 pieces, only to burst into flames. Looking badass for the first time since his introduction, the old man tells Hung Yuan to try and stop his own organs from burning instead. Completely exhausted, Yunxia gives Duan Yue a thumbs up, praising him for a job well done. At the same moment, the boy falls unconscious. The geezer quickly catches him and shouts out, calling for Yunxia with a voice full of worry. As the Tiger King battleship moves out, Hung Yuan consumes his 6th-tier holy medicine that he has been saving all this time to almost completely heal himself. Since Duan Yue's attack was equivalent to that of an 8-star martial grandmaster, he should not have any more energy left. So even with an injured True Yuan, Hung Yuan feels confident in ending the 2 ants with his bare fists if he chases them down. Screaming into the air, the Star Mansion Sect Guardian scolds Yunxia and Duan Yue for even thinking about leaving. However, despite his universal detect being locked on the supposed father and son throughout the entire ordeal, they somehow suddenly vanish into thin air. Suddenly, a mysterious fog starts gathering around Hung Yuan, making him think that it is another illusion. Of course, the realization of it being the rainbow fog hits him soon enough. Quickly surrounding himself with a barrier, the Peak Six Directions Realm Martial Grandmaster avoids touching the pink crystalline dust with all his might. At the same time, he refuses to let Yunxia and Duan Yue run away. Elsewhere, Yunxia celebrates that things turn out perfectly. Not only did the static rainbow fog warp them away from imminent death, but it also brought them safely near the Kumgo Divine Tree. Seeing the boy move around so freely, Duan Yue is shocked at his spirit power, fully recovering so quickly. However, Yunxia wishes that it hadn't for some reason, leaving the geezer shaking his head in confusion. Turns out, the moment he spread out his universal detect, the reincarnated soul noticed that they had been surrounded. Oh, to be an ignorant fool like Duan Yue, who was so calm and happy before Yunxia told him anything, and is panicking all over the place now. Unfazed, the boy tells the 7-star martial grandmaster to just relax, since resisting isn't an option. As all the enemies are under the water, Yunxia guesses that the rainbow fog must have brought them into the deep-sea territory of a seafolk tribe. Right then, the seawater starts splashing around wildly. Countless seamen erupt from the water, surrounding Yunxia and Duan Yue. Oozing with hostility, they reprimand the humans for intruding on their territory, demanding that they surrender peacefully. Seeing that there's a 5-star martial grandmaster and a dozen lower tier ones among the enemy forces, Duan Yue gets overwhelmed and freezes in place. What does bro even do? Meanwhile, Yunxia tries reasoning with the seafolk, asking for forgiveness. He explains that they ended up in their territory by pure accident, while running for their lives and had no intention of intruding. However, the seamen are convinced that humans are just playing tricks on them. Whatever reason Yunxia and Duan Yue have for being there doesn't matter to the seafolk, as they are still intruding on their territory. On the orders of the Blazefish tribe master, the seamen get up in arms to make the intruders yield. Without hesitation, Yunxia puts out his arms and surrenders, promising that they don't have any ill intent. Wanting to be captured instead, He acts scared and begs the sea folk to spare their lives. In reality, the reincarnated soul is pissed off that the sea folk can't be reasoned with. Their oozing killing intent and prejudice against humans make it clear to Yunxia that the seamen will kill them happily at any sign of resistance, regardless of the nature of the truth. So he signals Duan to not make any rash moves, and the two get captured by the sea folk. Of course, Yunxia tries to check if he can break free of the restraints, but whichever beast's immensely elastic tendons were used to make it impossible for him to do so. At the same time, the seamen's leader commands his soldiers to take the intruders to their chief. He also commends the humans for their obedience, promising to leave their corpses intact if they continue to behave well. Acting like a little kid, Yunxia calls the sea folk out for their lack of honor, only to have his complaining shut down by getting force-fed a pill. With this, the seamen jump into the water, taking the humans with them. Yunxia realizes that what they ate were water-warding pills, treasures that enable living beings from the land to move freely in any water body. This makes him feel relieved, as the sea folk wouldn't have given him and Duan such pills if they really wanted to kill them. After all, the water-warding pills are extremely rare valuables for humans. Even though the sea folk tribes have plenty of them, it would still be a waste to use them in such a way. While traversing through the deep sea region, Yunxia makes small talk with the leader of the sea folk soldiers. Inquiring about their destination, he tries to talk him out of killing them by attributing their meeting to fate. The reincarnated soul suggests that they should be friends, infuriating the seaman who doesn't deem humans to be worthy of being friends with the sea folk. Of course, Yunxia would never have tried to befriend someone like him if he hadn't been caught, but is now forced to use his charming eyes to seduce the enemy. Ayo, pause. Falling for the dreamy eyes, the sea folk starts lore dumping and reveals that a strong human, presumably Hung Yuan, intruded into their territory not too long ago. The wretched man injured 3 of their leaders, sending the entire Blazefish tribe into an uproar. Now, their chief has ordered the capture of that human. As it has been centuries since the sea folk last saw humans, the seaman refuses to believe that so many humans would just appear randomly in such a short amount of time. So he's convinced that Yunxia and Duan are related to Heng Yuan. Much to his surprise, the boy actually doubles down on being related to the human who wreaked havoc on the Blazefish tribe. However, Yunxia hates the way that Hung Yuan talks and the way that he walks. The reincarnated soul even hates the way that the martial grandmaster dresses and wants to know if he is injured. Gritting his teeth, the seaman reveals that Hung Yuan ran away after being under fire from 3 of the Blazefish tribe's leaders and is probably in hiding to recover from his injuries. Since the 3 leaders were able to stand on equal footing with Hung Yuan, Yunxia guesses that they are also 8 or 9 Star Martial Grandmasters. He hopes with all his heart that the tribe master isn't a martial emperor, so they can still have a chance of escaping. Wanting to avoid conflict altogether if possible, the reincarnated soul makes a plan to see what they are up to. As there are countless sea folk in the 4 seas, their tribes have been divided into 7 tiers for ease of management, with strength as its basis. The strongest amongst the sea folk is the Bo family, who currently reigns as emperor of the 4 seas. Considered to be godlike, they aren't put within the 7 tiers. Under them, however, is the first tier. It includes the 4 royal families, each of which rules the 4 cardinal sins. These are the Guam, Qin, Shun, and Run families, all deemed to be superpowers. Below the royal families in power, the second-tier tribes must have at least 10 or more martial sovereigns to be considered as such. Just like that, the third-tier tribes are those who have at least 1 martial sovereign, while the 4th-tier tribes have at least 1 martial supreme. Continuing the trend of requirements, at least 1 martial emperor is needed to be a 5th-tier tribe, while a 6th-tier tribe must have at least 1 martial grandmaster, putting them on the same level as a subsidiary of the Dustflame Empire. Lastly, the 7th tier only requires a martial king. The seafolk tribes beneath this cultivation level aren't considered in the tier system and aren't allowed to call themselves seafolk at all. Instead, they are known as sea dwellers. We are getting so fluent in Japanese. Feigning that he is just a curious kid, Yunxia asks the leader of the seafolk soldiers about the Blazefish tribe's tier. Captivated by the innocence and purity of the boy, the seaman ends up revealing that they are a 5th-tier tribe that reigns supreme in a 1,000-mile radius. This annoys Yunxia, as having a martial emperor there ruins their chances of escape. However, as seafolk are naive compared to cunning humans and can't hide their emotions well, The reincarnated soul notices that the seaman looks distressed and innocently inquires about it. This time, though, the blazefish soldier doesn't fall for it. Putting his trident against Yunxia's chest, he accuses him of trying to get information on them. While the boy swears up and down that he just wanted to help out since his face is full of worry, Duan Yuet tries to contain his laughter. After all, the stupid fish has already told them almost everything. At the same time, Yunxia reminds the seamen that they have a common enemy in Hung Yuan. Since an enemy of an enemy is a friend, they are already friends. The dumb seaman finds no faults in this argument and starts pouring his heart out to Yunxia. Blood really folded under no pressure. Turns out, the Blazefish tribe's chief, despite being a one-star martial emperor, is at the end of his life. Meanwhile, the strongest among their leaders, Tia Fan, only recently became a 9-star martial grandmaster. Their chief would have originally exchanged his remaining years to increase Tia Fan's cultivation level up to a peak 9-star martial grandmaster. However, the recent attack from Hung Yuan resulted in the leader suffering heavy injuries, making this feat impossible to accomplish. As the other leaders are only 8-star martial grandmasters, it will take them around 50 to 100 years to become 9-star martial grandmasters, a time that their chief doesn't have. So, if Tia Fan can't become a martial emperor before his passing, the Blazefish tribe will get demoted to the 6th tier. Not wanting his tribe to face this situation, the Seaman is motivated to capture Hung Yuan and tear him to shreds. Being the Oscar-worthy actor that he is, Yunxia bursts into tears at this inspiring speech. Meanwhile, Duan Yue can't believe that the dumb Seaman really told intruders like them everything about his tribe. Yes, the sea folk are just stupid fish in the end. Hearing about the intense battle, Yunxia concludes that it isn't possible for Hung Yuan to completely heal so soon after fighting the sea folk and Duan Yue back to back, hoping that he stays out of their hair for a bit. As all 3 leaders of the Blazefish tribe are injured as well, the only pillar supporting them, as well as the only thing stopping Yunxia from escaping, is the martial emperor tribe leader. And so the sea folk arrive at their city with the captured humans. Entering the majestic underwater city, Duan Yue is captivated by the sights and starts looking around like a child in awe. Little creatures are moving around with buckets on their backs, carrying purple crystals of some sort in them. Noticing the old man's excitement, Yunxia explains that they are called primordial crystals. Similar to how humans use primordial stones, the sea folk use them in refinement. Moreover, as the sea is filled with resources, the sea folk can simply focus on cultivating without having to worry about food or shelter. To keep things moving, though, the elderly and children are in charge of transporting the primordial crystals. For instance, the Blazefish tribe is ordering around weird little sea folk from weak tribes for this task, while focusing on cultivation themselves. Refusing to accept the knowledge gracefully, Duan Yue pretends that he is already aware of all that and raises his chin proudly. Both Yunxia and the Seaman smile at him, while the latter expresses surprise at humans having some understanding of the sea folk. He then orders his soldiers to take away Yunxiao's last Tiger King battleship to help with transporting primordial crystals, making the boy regret giving them away so easily. Well, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. In the next breath, the Seaman orders Yunxia and Duan Yue to follow him, wanting them to meet the tribe leader. After all, if the 2 of them can explain that they are not working with Hung Yuan, their lives just might be spared. Walking inside the palace, Duan Yue gets confused by the lack of seawater. Of course, Yunxia knows that it's a sea folk tradition to use waterproof membranes to keep the water out of the palace. Soon, they arrive at the throne room, where the tribe leader, surrounded by totems of fire, awaits them. This scenery confuses Yunxia, as most sea folk are afraid of fire, but the Blazefish tribe seems to have it even in their name. Right then, the tribe leader speaks up, referring to the Seaman as TFA. He inquires about the identity of the captives. Kneeling down before him, TFA reveals that they are humans, infuriating the tribe leader, Tiapin. The martial emperor's immense aura oozes out in all directions, exerting soul-crushing pressure on everyone present. Crossing eyes with Yunxia, though, Tiapin relaxes and asks TFA if the intruders are related to the human who attacked them. The seaman explains that Yunxia and Duan Yue insist on having a deep-seated grudge against Hung Yuan instead, but the tribe leader declares that it's nothing but an excuse. In his eyes, there isn't a single good seed among humans, He orders TFA to drag away the intruders and feed them to the fish, prompting Yunxia to free himself from the restraints and protest. Abracadabra, I'm about to reach in my bag, brah. The reincarnated soul warns Tia Pin that if he doesn't drop the act already, they will eradicate the Blazefish tribe. Infuriated by the disrespect against the tribe leader, TFA rushes to kill Yunxia. At the same time, Duan Yue frees himself from his restraints as well and intercepts the Seaman. Stopping TFA's weapon with his bare hands, the 7-star martial grandmaster lands a monstrous kick on the Seaman's face, sending him flying to Tia Pin. Oozing with killing intent, the tribe leader threatens to end the humans' lives. However, Yunxia once again tells him to drop the act. After all, even with all this power, the martial emperor can only make one last move before his body gives up on him. Tia Pin may be able to fool others, but he can't hide being on his last breath from Yunxia's eyes. So, if the tribe leader foolishly attacks them, he'll die as well. Tia Pin is taken aback by these words, while Tia begs him to say that it isn't so. With his entire body trembling, the martial emperor confirms Yunxia's words, but vows to kill him without hesitation if he threatens the Blazefish tribe. The reincarnated soul reminds Tia Pin that he was the one who wanted to kill him, and Duan Yue, even though they didn't have any ill intent, as the one thing that Yunxia hates more than anything is being threatened. He demands that Tia Pin apologize and show them a token of his sincerity. Otherwise, Tia will lose his life, leaving the Blazefish tribe helpless. Womp womp. Enraged by the boy's declaration, the loyal Seaman rushes to kill him. However, the tribe leader orders Tia to stop. Tia Pin then asks Yunxia to just leave the Blazefish tribe's territory and never show himself there again if he truly has no ill intent. Hearing his chief's words, the Seaman tells Yunxia to accept this great mercy and get lost. Of course, the reincarnated soul isn't one to listen to a mere fish. Although he respects TFA's loyalty, Yunxia has two things to say to him. Firstly, Tia Pin's act was not a display of mercy, but rather an analysis of their strengths, and understanding that it's a lose-lose situation. Secondly, he doesn't want to leave quite yet and has a business deal to make with the Blazefish tribe. However, Tia Pin instantly shuts down his offer. Telling the boy to leave, the tribe leader threatens to take back his decision if they don't hurry. Since Yunxia realized long ago that the Seafolk are arrogant and proud, he instantly gets to the point and proposes to give Tia Pin an additional 100 years of life, along with helping the heavily injured Tia Fan break straight through to Martial Emperor. Screaming out in utter disbelief, the tribe leader gets up from his throne and asks Yunxia to repeat himself. Duan Yue scratches his chin in confusion too, as the boy's proposition seems a little too far-fetched to fulfill, even by his standards. A momentary silence descends in the room, after which Tia Pin sits back down. Swearing to kill Yunxia if he is lying, the tribe leader inquires about the business deal and wonders how he can trust him. Assuring Tia Pin that it will be a win-win situation for both of them, the boy asks him if he knows of the Congo Divine Tree. For some reason, this alerts the Martial Emperor, as well as Tia Fei. Questioning if there's a problem, Yunxia tells them once again what he is offering in the business deal. However, Tia Pin still looks distraught. Bringing his hand to his face, the tribe leader commands Tia Fei to inform the humans about the situation. Obeying his chief's order, the Seaman reveals that his Blazefish tribe used to protect the holy item, known as the Congo Divine Tree. Unfortunately, it has fallen into the hands of the Razor Clan tribe. These dudes gotta be certified frauds. As the Congo Divine Tree should be nearby, Yunxia wonders how that is possible. After all, Tia Fei was the one who said that they reign supreme for thousands of miles. Turns out, even though the Razor Clams are one tier below the Blazefish tribe, they have 3 9-star martial grandmasters. So, unless Tia Pin himself takes part in the battle, their overall strength pales in comparison to the Razor Clan tribe. By ingesting the leaves of the Congo Divine Tree, the Blazefish tribe has nourished themselves and increased their cultivation for tens of thousands of years. As such, the Razor Clams don't mind souring their relationship with them over it. In fact, maybe they knew about Tia Pin's condition and attacked them for that very reason. Ignoring everything Tia Fei just said, Yunxia holds his chest, overcome with agony at the thought of the idiotic fish heads eating the Congo Divine Tree's leaves as is. Regardless, he controls himself and notes that the holy treasure should be about the size of a city, since the Blazefish tribe has controlled it for tens of thousands of years. Yunxia wonders if they have a method to go directly into the divine tree. Ayo, chill on my boy Uzu. Unfortunately, there is no way to get there without alerting the Razor Clan tribe. However, they can make it difficult for the enemy to find them by breaking their seal and invading forcefully. Fortunately, this much is enough for Yunxia, and he asks the tribe leader to lead them to the Congo divine tree. If they successfully break in and hide inside for just half a month, the reincarnated soul promises that Tia Pin will recover 100 years of life force. Despite this, Tia Fei protests, since the martial emperor can only launch one attack before dying. He worries about what will happen if Yunxia ends up in danger. The loyal seaman begs that he be allowed to take them there instead, only to get shut down by Tia Pin himself. As all three of the Razor Clan tribe's 9-star martial grandmasters are guarding the Congo divine tree, Tia Fei won't be able to break in with his meager strength. So Tia Pin deems it necessary for himself to be the one to lead the humans there, though only on the condition that Yunxia doesn't break his promise to make Tia Fan and martial emperor. Feeling impressed that the old fish isn't scared of death like other geezers his age, but is actually ready to sacrifice himself, the reincarnated soul allows him to bring Tia Fan along as well, promising to help him break through to martial emperor within half a month. Right then, Tia Fan comes barging into the throne room and begs his tribe leader not to fall for the schemes of lying humans. On account of the martial emperor's deteriorating condition, the 9-star martial grandmaster asks for permission to kill the humans for him instead. Breathing forth a streaming vortex from his weapon, Tia Fan attacks Yunxia, getting stopped by Duan Yue. Unbothered by the clashing martial grandmasters, the boy nonchalantly whistles, while the old man breaks his back protecting him. Exerting himself greatly, Duan Yue deflects Tia Fan's attack all the way to the roof. The former lets out a proud grin, prompting the latter to commend his skill. Unsatisfied by the outcome, Tia Fan prepares to unleash another streaming vortex. This time, Tia Pin is the one to order him to stop. The 9-star martial grandmaster begs his chief to let him proceed, insisting that the two humans are trying to trick him. However, Tia Pin tells Tia Fan to just follow his orders, as he knows what he's doing. Getting humbled by his chief, the leader prostrates himself. Right then, Tia Pin's daughter, the marine refiner Tia Ling, comes running, begging her father to listen to Tia Fan and not let the humans trick him. It's like a fishy bargain sale around here. Of course, the tribe leader shuts her down too, deeming it to be their last chance. Considering the circumstances, Tia Pin is afraid that the Razor Clan tribe will overwhelm them if they don't take this chance, confusing Tia Ling. The naive daughter is convinced that no one in the region would dare go up against them. Once she ranks up to 3rd-tier marine refiner, not remembering that she only became a 2nd-tier refiner at such a young age by receiving an elder's teachings purely by chance. As all the 3rd-tier refiners in the 4 seas are over 100 years old, Tia Pin laments that it will take Tia Ling at least another century to break through again, an amount of time that the Blazefish tribe can't wait. While Duan Yue scratches his head in confusion, wondering what a marine refiner is, Yunxia understands that they are simply the sea folk counterparts of human refiners. However, they get way more respect in the deep sea because of how rare they are. Yunxia even spots evidence to back up this fact, noting that the 9-star martial grandmaster is using a simple trident as a weapon, something that not even a human martial warrior would want. Meanwhile, Tia Ling begs her father to reconsider, suggesting that they just hide themselves for 100 years until everything falls into place. Lil Sis is clueless. Tia Pin shakes his head in rejection, informing his naive daughter that the Razor Clan tribe won't leave them alone for that long. After all, they have almost taken over the region in just the last 20 to 30 years. The innocent marine refiner questions why the ruling Hoverback tribe doesn't do anything about this, getting reminded of what the Hoverback tribe master said when the Razor clams arrived there 30 years ago. Turns out, he was the one who set up the Blazefish tribe by asking them to provide the Razor Clam tribe with a small piece of land on account of their service to the sea folk. The Hoverbat tribe even told them to get along with the Razor Clams, suggesting that the two tribes are conspiring together. Unaware of how the world works, Tia Ling wonders why they can't just complain to the tribes ruling over the Hoverbats, prompting Tia Fan to step in and inform her of the cruel truth. Just like the human world, might is right, and no one cares about the weak. Tia Ling shouts out, questioning why the South Sea King even set any mandates, if they don't matter. The marine refiner's words make everyone panic, and Tia Pin reprimands her for speaking ill of the South Sea King, since the entire Blazefish tribe would suffer because of her if other sea folk heard what she said. He tells his daughter to stand aside like the kid she is. Oof, the dude really hit his own daughter with a fatality. Seeing the naive little fishy, Yunxia starts feeling mischievous and inquires about the Razor Clan tribe's origin. Tia Fawn reveals that they migrated from the East Sea, where they originally enjoyed their status as a second-tier tribe. The 9-star martial grandmaster worries that the Razor clams are immensely more talented than them and will surpass the Blazefish tribe in a few years. Ignoring whatever he heard after second tier, Yunxia wonders why such a powerful tribe that should have had more than 10 martial sovereigns would fall all the way down to the 6th tier. Not only that, but also migrating across seas makes him think that they offended a royal family, though the actual details are unclear, even to Tia Pin. What he did hear from the Hoverbat tribe master was that the Guang family ordered the Razor clams to capture a human. However, in the process of obeying that command, they, along with many other second-tier tribes, perished. Hundreds of martial sovereigns were killed by this human, and the Razor clan tribe lost all their members, who were martial emperors and above. Thus, their power declined. As other tribes started taking advantage of the Razor clan's downfall, they migrated to the South Sea in order to recover. While Duan Yue wonders just how ruthless a human is, a sudden realization hits Yunxia. 30 years ago, in the East Sea, it could only mean one thing. Right then, Tia Pin confirms his thoughts, cursing the very definition of heaven's cruelty, known as Gu Fei Yang. Tia Fan shares his sentiments, declaring that the martial sovereign's name stains the honor of all sea folk. The two seamen remain unaware that the very human they are talking about currently stands before them as a business partner, getting stabbed in the heart by their unkind words. As they're trying to defend his honor, Yunxia remarks that there's no need to hate Gu Fei Yan this much, since he is probably already dead. He lied as naturally as he breathed. The boy wants them to focus on the future, but Tia Fan refuses to be satisfied, until even the dead human's descendants are killed. Trying to sneakily tell them that Gu Fei Yang died before procreating, Yunxia quickly changes the topic to how they will get inside the Congo Divine Tree. However, Tia Ling has an entirely other topic in mind. She wants Yunxia to demonstrate some skill before they can believe in his wild promises, a sentiment that Tia Pin agrees with. So, after getting the naive little fish to boast about her status as a second-tier marine refiner, the reincarnated soul proposes that they have a contest, refiner to refiner. If Tia Ling loses, Yunxia will command the action plan, and everyone participating will have to listen to him. While the boy gets excited at this opportunity to make the Blazefish tribe obey him, Tia Ling takes his challenge as an attack on her pride. Instantly agreeing to it, she even tells Yunxia to go ahead and make the rules. On the other hand, Duan Yue looks on, feeling confident in the boy's capability to triumph over mere fish, even though he is unaware of his actual tier himself. Anyway, Yunxia asks Tia Ling to make the rules instead, and choose what she's best at, excluding swimming though. Feeling enraged by a mere human taking her so lightly, the marine refiner announces that they can just compete in simple refining. Yunxia mockingly questions if she is sure about that, not wanting the fish to switch up that energy when she loses. In his mind, he feels thankful that the sea folk are so dumb that they are agreeing to his idea without asking any questions. Right as Tia Ling starts getting flustered, her father reminds her that it's no time to be playing as the heroine. Let her know, King, as competing against humans puts the honor of not only the Blazefish tribe, but also of all sea folk on the line. Tia Pin wants his daughter to contend with what she's best at, fire manipulation. These words confuse Duan Yue and Yunxia, as sea folk usually fear fire. To avoid turning into fish fillets, they even replace the flames during the refinement process with other natural elements. Trying to intimidate him, Tia Pin asks Yunxia if he dares to accept the challenge. Of course, already intrigued by how a fish is going to control fire, the boy readily accepts. As the two parties agree to the terms, the sea folk start grinning and give each other nods of approval. Slightly worried, Duan Yue wonders if there truly isn't a problem for Yunxia. Hearing this, the boy starts speaking in riddles, something about how accidents happen to him if he isn't the one to cause them. Turns out, this is just Yunxia oozing with confidence. With a wide grin across his face, the reincarnated soul vows to destroy the sea folk in the contest, even if accidents befall him. Poor Duan was just asking a question, but now Yunxia is acting all cool. Even the atmosphere around him has turned stylish, glowing not with the light of alchemy, but with the light of respect. Bro got that aura. Smacking Tia Fan for being blown away by the boy's imposing energy. Tia Ling decides to compete in the palace and lets Yunxia set the rules, since she decided on the contest. As fire manipulation is about precision and strength, the reincarnated soul prepares to demonstrate a few actions. If Tia Ling can imitate them, she wins, otherwise she loses. Unimpressed by the challenge, the marine refiner signals Yunxia to go right ahead. Not taking kindly to getting looked down on by a bunch of fishes, the reincarnated soul decides to show them something good to humble them, telling the sea folk to watch him closely. Yunxia flicks his finger. Flames erupt from his palm, forming a stunning tree of fire. As the boy expected, he needs to protect the fire with Yuan Qi in order to successfully manipulate it underwater, which is an extremely difficult feat. Not letting cockiness get the better of him, the reincarnated soul exerts himself and increases the flow of flames. However, he doesn't slack on the precision at all. The result is a tree of fire that blooms as if it were the real deal, leaves and all. All the spectators are left in awe at the scene, especially Duan Yue. Despite training in the fire element, he has only ever thought of increasing its power, never even guessing that it could be controlled in this way. The flaming tree's leaves start flying around in the throne room, like an autumn evening, making the sea folk wonder if Yunxia is even human. He is constructed alternatively. Satisfied with the reactions, the boy ends the demonstration and calls Tia Ling onto the stage. Feeling anxious, yet excited, the human refiners are just as amazing as she thought, the marine refiner courageously steps up to the challenge, even though she has never tried such a thing. Tia Ling starts following Yunxia's movements, only to end up failing miserably. Tia Fei and Tia Fan get worried for her, but she signals them to stay back. Replaying Yunxia's demonstration in her mind, the marine refiner showcases masterful precision and manages to replicate the tree of fire in only her second attempt, bringing the seaman to tears. Brimming with pride, Tia Pin asks Yunxia if he has anything else to show them, declaring Tia Ling's talent in fire manipulation to be greater than even his own. The reincarnated soul gets ready to display his highest attainment in it. Yunxia promises to accept his defeat gracefully if the marine refiner can replicate what he is about to do, prompting everyone to watch him closely in anticipation. The boy puts his hands on the ground, forming a ring of fire. In mere moments, flames erupt from the circle and spread out in all directions, blooming into an entire lifelike forest. Blooming trees and chirping birds, all of different shapes. The scene makes the spectators question if this is still fire manipulation. In fact, they doubt that even a god of fire would be able to do such a thing. Seeing a bird fly by him, Tia Pin's eyes literally fall out of his skull. Right then, Yunxia announces that the show isn't finished yet and tells the tribe leader to keep his eyes open. Good one, little bro. Forming the king's instrument out of the flames, the reincarnated soul prepares to unleash the phoenix at advent of 100 birds, once again promising to accept his loss gracefully, if Tia Ling can imitate it. Moments later, Yunxia blows on the king's instrument to condense the true fire of life. The phantom of the ancient phoenix appears in the fire forest and starts flying around with the chirping words, completing the phoenix at advent of 100 birds. As Yunxia ends the demonstration, he breaks through to become a 2-star great martial master. Opening his eyes to see the spectators' reaction, the reincarnated soul gets confused, finding them frozen as literal statues. Yunxia unboxes Duan Yue with a hammer, prompting him to start crying like an 80-year-old child. The 7-star martial grandmaster declares that his young master Yun is a god, wanting to get down on his knees before him. Right then, Tia Pin actually gets on his knees, prostrating himself before Yunxia. Why did the proud Blazefish tribe chief kneel before a mere human? Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.